Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and Merry Christmas to you. So, using your mobile phone for photography, it's a question I get quite often. And the truth is, the best camera in the world is the one that you have with you. So, you generally always have your phone with you in your pocket, not always do you have your camera. So, sometimes you go out, as I did here. We went to Helmingham Hall in Suffolk, England, with the family to go and see the Christmas lights, and it was a fantastic evening. About 20 acres of lights with music, and it was really, really good. We had a great time. Helmingham itself here is actually was started in 1480 and was completed in 1510. And so it's been there a long time, and there's quite a history to it. And I won't go into too much detail, but during the occupation of this estate over the years, things have been found in the grounds, and one of the big finds was quite a large find of Roman coins that dated from 47 AD. So there's quite a history here that goes back. But fantastic place to visit for Christmas. Very much get you in the Christmas spirit. But all I had was my phone. So I took the shots. I didn't shoot them in RAW on my phone. I just shot them in JPEG. To be honest, didn't really think about it, just out with the family, took some photographs. And when I got back home, I looked at the photographs and thought, wow, what an amazing shot. Luckily, I took lots of shots from the same place. So in this case, I took 12 shots because I thought, maybe I do want to do something when I get back, do a bit of stacking, maybe show you guys what can be done with a phone picture. Last week, I did an interesting sort of stacking tutorial regarding removing people from a busy public place, and you probably got to see that one, and it was quite interesting. A lot of people commented on that and was quite excited to see what we could do. I thought, well, let's show you what else stacking can do, and it's really good for reducing noise and improving an image. Anyway, if you enjoy the video, please click like. Feel free to put comments down below. Love having your comments. I do respond to all of them. And also, if you've got any tips or questions, feel free to put those down below. The files linked with this tutorial, they're in a link down below. You're welcome to download these JPEGs and follow on with me, so you can do the same things with me at the same time. If you haven't already subscribed, it'd be great for you to join me here on YouTube. Still having a great time. If you've got a few moments, pop over and have a look at my website, jrmathlin.uk. I've got some interesting bits and pieces on there, and certainly my new workshops for 2025. The London workshop has been released. Hopefully I'll be releasing an autumn workshop as well, just after Christmas, which will be for the English Medieval Cities Tour. We had a great time this year. That was great fun. Also on the website, you'll find some information about me, and you can look up what gear I use, and I've got a gallery there as well, so feel free to pop over and have a look at that. Okay, let's get started. So here's the shot. As you can see, 1/10 of a second, f2.2, ISO 2500 on my iPhone 15. Now, that is pushing the limits of the little tiny sensors that we have in these cameras, particularly when it comes to noise. I mean, the detail's pretty good here. If I zoom in, this is just straight from the camera. I've done nothing with it. It's a JPEG. I didn't even shoot it raw in the camera. I didn't think I was going to need to process it, but it was such a good shot. I've come home, and we're going to process it. So if I go to 100%, as you can see, detail is reasonably good. We can improve the sharpness on that. There's a little bit of loss, but if we open up the shadows, you'll see that we are definitely seeing a degree of the sort of JPEG artifacting, because of course JPEG's only 8 bits, so we're only dealing with 256 shades per color. So you do tend to see this sort of banding, because if you shoot raw, then you've got 65,000 tones within each color, so hence you get a much finer finish. But you can see that here, this banding. But if we use stacking to deal with noise and JPEG banding, it's amazing what we can do. Now, we can't use the AI noise function because this is a JPEG, so if I went down to AI noise, it's not available because that's only for RAWs and DNGs. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the stacking function again. I'm going to make some minor adjustments here now. So we're going to go with this sort of brightness here. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to change anything else, literally straight from the camera. So what I am going to do is apply this little correction of shadows across all of the images I've got here. So I took 12 images, a dozen images. So I'm just going to go down to the film strip. I'm going to right click, go to develop settings, and then I'm going to go to copy the settings, check all, happy with that. And then what I'm going to do is highlight number 2, go to number 12, hold down the shift key, so I've got them all highlighted, and then right click on any one of them, go back to develop settings, paste the settings, and it will automatically apply that setting that we had in the first one across all of them. So we're going to jump over to Photoshop pretty well straight away because I'm not going to do much more with this. And what we're going to do is going to right click on the image here, going to go to edit in. Now this is really important, as we did last time. Rather than going straight to Adobe 2025, don't want to do that. Go down to the bottom and open as layers in Photoshop so that we can open each image inside Photoshop to make it work. So here we are in Photoshop, and as you can see on the right hand side, it's loading these images in as layers as we speak. So there's 12 in total. So I thought everybody was really impressed with what we did last time with trying to remove the people. A number of people said, well, why don't you just do a timed exposure, like a long exposure, maybe use an ND filter, and that can work as well. That's quite a good suggestion, but sometimes you end up with drag lines, particularly if a vehicle goes in the shot, and it's very difficult to get rid of that once it's there. So using the mean or the median function within stacking in Photoshop really does help you deal with that. So there we go, all of the 12 images are loaded. Top one's highlighted, so I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to hold down the shift key. I'm going to click, so all 12 are highlighted. Okay, really important that we go up to edit and we go to auto align layers. Really important that we need to bring all the layers together and make sure they're fully aligned. Auto's fine, works very well, so don't worry about anything else. Just click OK, and then what your computer will do is now process those images. There we go, that's done, into everything's aligned. Now what we do is we right click on any of the the layers on the right, and we convert it to a smart object. And converting it to smart objects now gives us some additional functionality. And one of those functions, if I go up to layer, up the top here, you'll see is smart objects. And then in smart objects, you can go down to stacking mode. And this is where we find the mean or median. So we're going to go straight in for mean. I'm going to click mean, and it's now going to process that image. There we go, it's done that. And it's brought them all together. Now look at the sky. You remember the banding that we had? Much improved. If you took more shots at the scene, maybe 24 or 36 images, you get smoother and smoother and smoother. The noise will be removed and any banding would be removed, because at night you are really challenging the abilities of these modern cameras, which are, let's be honest, are completely fantastic what they can do. So that's the image that we've got. I'm just going to do a little bit of some correction here. I don't really like the bank here in the side. It's all a bit wishy-washy. I'd like to try and make that black. And the best way to do that is, rather than just making it black in Lightroom, we can actually just remove it. So I can go over here to the remove tool, and I'm just going to rasterize this layer. And what that does is it puts it back into a sort of pixel function that allows some of the other tools to work. So to do that, I right click on the layer, I go down the bottom and I just say rasterize that layer. It's taking it back out of being a smart object, brings it back into just a single layer. I'm on the remove tool, so I'm just going to highlight the things I want to remove. And remember, with the remove tool, if you just go around the circumference of an object and let go, it automatically fills in the image, it's the center of your selection. I'm going to click tick, and it's removed most of it. For some reason it's put a little bit in there, but we can go over that again and just remove that bit as well. So just go around, select that, and click again, and there we go, it's gone. So we've got that nice darkness. So I'm going to make the remove tool just a little bit smaller. I'm also going to zoom in just a little bit more. So let's zoom in here, and what I want to do is just remove a few of these sort of marks on the water from the. I mean, that is almost perfect reflection, but we'll stick with the remove tool. We'll make it much smaller this time, so we're literally just taking out the things that are sort of affecting the image there, just little bits and pieces. I don't want to go too mad. I do like having quite a bit in here, but these little marks on the surface, they just sort of take your eye away just a little bit from such a perfect reflection. So I'm just working my way through. Now you might be thinking, well, every time I click, it does the correction straight away. And what that is this remove after each stroke at the top here. If you have that sort of ticked, you can also tick sample all layers to bring everything together if you have multiple layers. But if you're effectively clicking and it's working straight away, you can remove after each stroke, you can switch that off, and then you're able to literally go in and make the selections as you go around. And the other advantage of this as well is that you can do straight line removals as well. I'll show you just in a second, but what I'm going to do is just take these last few bits out here, and then little tiny brush in there, get that last one out of there. So I'm just going to hit the check mark and it will correct those for me. A couple more there that just missed. So there we go. Just take those out as well. Check. Perfect. And we can have a look around over here. But let me just show you, if you are in the remove tool and you click somewhere and you hold down the shift key whilst you're in there in the remove tool, you can remove straight lines. So that's useful for taking out power lines. And I know there's a remove distraction function. I don't find it overly brilliant. Some of the things it does are very good. Some of the people functions are quite good as well. But generally, I tend to just use the remove tool or generative fill if I need something a little bit more complicated. So let's just take that last one out there. We're just going to have a look over this way. So I hold down the space bar and then use my mouse to move across. And I've got to be honest, this is looking pretty good. Just a little blue mark. I know it's on top of the building there, but I'm just going to take that out. No alarm boxes for me to remove. This is a wonderful stately home set in a large estate. And if you are local to the east of England, I would strongly suggest you take the opportunity to go and see these lights. There's about 20 acres of lighting through the forests and all the different gardens within the estate itself. It's absolutely beautiful. And they're playing music as well as you walk around. So I'm going to say that's all I really need to do there. I'm just going to bring that back to fit screen. I don't think I need to do anything else. We'll keep it simple. So I'm just going to click on File. I'm going to go to Close because I want to close it in Photoshop. And I'm then just going to click Save. And that will put it back into Lightroom. There we go. So we're back into Lightroom. Now, you remember the sky with all that banding. You look how much better that is. Really good. There's a little bit of marks just around the top of the buildings there. You can just see some black marks there from the halo. But if we bring the shadows down just a little bit, bring it back just a little bit, you'll see that they become less noticeable. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Let's just maybe raise the highlights slightly. I'm going to bring up the clarity just a little bit, just to make it a little, not too much, just sort of about 8 to 10 clicks there. That's it. Bring the highlights down. We're a bit high there at 20, say about 10. That works quite well. Just need to make sure that we've got the perspective right. So I'm just going to jump over down here to, where are we? Transform. Here we go. And I'm going to, we'll check auto to see if it works. It's a little bit better, but let's go to guided. Let's take the end of this building here and we'll put a guided line down there. We want that to be straight. We want this part of the building to be straight as well here. So let's put one there. And I'd like to have this completely sort of horizontal. And you can do that by clicking on the edge of this bridge here and then picking the same position on this bridge over here. And it will just correct it. So it's now perfectly level and we've got the two verticals that we wanted. So I'm happy with that. That's looking pretty good. Okay, any last things? Really difficult to do much with this because the image itself is pretty good straight from camera. We've corrected that noise. We've increased the detail. Maybe that's the last thing we'll do. Just a tiny bit of noise correction. And because we can't use the denoise function, we'll have to use the old-fashioned way, use the luminance functions here. And if the luminance is effectively reducing any noise. So if I bring that up a little bit and I look at the sky and it looks a lot better, 19 is fine. And then I can sharpen the image by bringing up sharpening. So I generally let these two numbers add up. It was a tip that Serge Ramonelli gave me many years ago. Whatever your luminance is, deduct it from 100 and then add that in sharpening. It works generally quite well on that scale of 0 to 100 for certainly for daytime shots. For nighttime shots, you have to be a little bit more sensitive. So actually, I do 60 as my calculation. So 19 away from 60 gives me 41. So if I go in there and pop in 41 as my sharpening, I've got a nice balance. But this is really important. We must go to the masking slider here, hold down the Alt or Option key, and then as we slide it, everything that's white gets sharpened and everything that's black has the noise reduction applied to it. So if I move it to the left, it nearly goes all white. If I go to the right, you end up with just the very fine lines. So where I want to be is I want to make sure we've got as much detail in the trees, but I don't want anything in the sky. You can see up there on the left above the trees there is a little bit of the noise creeping through. So I'm just going to go to the right till that disappears, let go, and now we've got the noise correction exactly as we want it. So I'm happy with that. So anything else we need to do? I really don't think there is. It's going to be a nice short video today, just showing you that stacking process again, and I hope you enjoyed that. Does prove that your phone can produce some amazing pictures, and in the daytime that the noise levels are much lower. So even if you stack an image that comes from the camera in the daytime, you can get rid of any noise that you want to. You can use the RAW function within your cameras. A lot of them have got it. It doesn't give you a great deal more. It's not like using your digital camera. You do get a little bit more dynamic range, but generally you can work with the JPEGs as long as you've got at least a dozen or more, and then you can bring them together. So let's just have a look at that image there. I'm really happy with that. Beautiful place. We had a lovely evening out. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please click like, and if you've got any comments or questions or tips you want to give me, always welcome to do so. Do those down below. And also, if you haven't subscribed, it'd be great for you to join me on my continuing adventure here on YouTube. Still having a great time. I really do enjoy getting comments from people and having a chit chat in those comments. It's really interesting how you guys think and all the different ways you do things, and certainly I've learned a lot from listening to what's been said. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. But for now, I'm going to say bye-bye and have a Merry, Merry Christmas.